Hey everybody, welcome to Max Concert Photography. I'm Robert Maxfield. I'm a concert photographer in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. And today we're going to talk about the music business and contracts and those kind of things. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned and we'll be right back. Okay everybody, this last week was kind of unusual, but it's becoming more and more common uh, in concert photography. I received an email from someone that said, I represent a client that's going to be at a certain place and they're looking to know if I would be interested in doing photos and video. Now, this is Wednesday. The show is on Saturday night. So I said, okay. Uh, so there was a telephone number down below. And I called and a lady answered and we talked for a few minutes and I said, okay, so what exactly are you wanting? And she was wanting stuff for uh, she was wanting stuff for social media. She was wanting about 30 photographs, and so social media normally for me includes JPEGs. That'd be 30 JPEGs, some editing, basic stuff, photographs, and so I gave her my day rate, which at that time was $450 plus whatever additional stuff that they may want. And she said, "Okay, that's fine." And she'd give me a call with the contract and the release form as soon as possible. And so, with a little research, I went and found out who exactly was going to be at the location that she wanted me to photograph at that time, and I was right. And what happened was I received this release form, and now mind you, this release, the original job was for 30 shots, social media, live video only, not video, no video, but live still photography of the concert. And when I got it, it said the things that really got me about it was um, it says here, if the stuff's being approved by the company and it shall be deemed work for hire, and you will deliver the finished materials, including negatives and all files collectively known as the material, to the company, including without limitation the exclusive rights and use and materials for the purpose of any medium now known as devised and in the future. This gives them also on this form, it gives them exclusive rights throughout the world in perpetuity, and they can use it for any medium that they select. So what that means, it's not social media. It means if the guy all of a sudden becomes the poster child for 7-Eleven or some convenience stores hot dogs or whatever, then and they make big old stand-up posters of him and put them right next to the stand, that's not social media, but he owns it. If he goes out to Las Vegas and decides he's having a farewell tour and he's going to spend a stint out there for a year, they could put him on a billboard with your photograph, and that's no social media, and you end up he ends up with the rights to it. If he all of a sudden gets hit by a bus and his family owns the rights to your stuff, and they can write a book about his life and become a New York Times bestseller, and guess what? Use your pictures and your stuff, and you don't get anything other than the original money that you were promised for some job that actually wasn't the job that you were going to do in the first place. So this is becoming more and more common. So when I got the release form and the contract, um, I called her back up and I said, we got a problem with this. Now, normal the procedure is to take and cross out what's not agreeable to you on the contract, and then resubmit it to them, and then they negotiate back what they're living to deal with, and you're going to deal with too. So in that case, this whole contract was not what I was told originally was going to be there. Could have been any kind of mistake, whatever it, but the person, it just wasn't the contract, and they own the rights to everything you do, including your raw files and all that. Now, they gave you some rights where you could do a few things. You put it in your portfolio and that kind of thing. But you couldn't use any of the photographs for anything because they owned all the rights. This is becoming more and more common. So I waited for this thing until 5 o'clock on Friday. Now, remind you, the show is on Saturday. It starts at 6 o'clock. And when I got it, nothing on the form was exactly like what I was told in the email or on the phone the first time. So I told her, I said, one, I don't sell my copyrights and turn over my raw files. That's just me personally. And I wasn't going to do that. And she says, why? And I said, well, first of all, what you asked for was social media and a 30 shots of that and all live concert photos, and this is not what it was. And that is actually more money than what $450 is. She goes, oh, okay, well, I'll tell them. And they came back and they declined it, which there's a couple things you need to think about. $450 to a lot of people is a lot of money, and there is a spreadsheet that's out there on the internet that will tell you, that pretty much keeps track of a lot of the information and how much people are paid for what certain jobs, and how long the rights are for the photographs you shoot, what they can be used for, that kind of thing. And it ranges anywhere from $15 for a whole day worth of shooting to $5,500 for a whole day or 3 days or a tour or whatever. So the amount of money that goes on is all over the place. So that is one of the big issues, is how much are people actually getting paid. Now, in my certain case, okay, I could have taken the money at $450, called it a day, and said they can do whatever they want to with it. Unfortunately, for other photographers, that may not be a good idea to do. But if you take the $450 and you say, okay, I don't care what you do with them, I've got my money. That's up to you, as your choice. But $450 for what they asked originally for, and for what they actually wanted, was not apples to apples, but it was apples to pineapple, oranges, and fruit salad. But I was nice and told the lady exactly what the reason why. She told me that she would approach her client, and she did, and it didn't work out. And hopefully there's no animosity anywhere there. But you have to make the decision as to what you will accept and what you will do and for how much, and is it worth it. So like I said, you may never have a need for those photographs again, and you go ahead and sell them off for $450, $500, and then, okay, you all of a sudden, like I said, the guy gets hit by a bus, and they make a made-for-TV movie. They use your photographs in your work, and you get no royalties or anything for it. They own all the copyrights. So you got to be careful out there. So that's the first part, is when you get these kind of things, you got to be careful. You got to read them. And more commonly, what's happening is a lot of these people that issue these kind of things are doing it on very short terms and very short notice. So what happens is you get it, boom, you feel rushed, and you have to make a decision. The worst case scenario, you just don't shoot it. You say, I don't understand it, or it's not worth my time, or it's not the stuff that I want, you let them know what it is. If it's negotiated and fixed, fine. If it's not, I'm sure that they'll go to the next city that has somebody, and they'll find somebody that may do it. Whether they get the quality of work that you provide, who knows? But what happens is this is happening more and more. In fact, I was conversing back and forth with a lady in Australia, and she told me that she negotiates these kind of contracts all the way up to 2 weeks after the show's already done, and she's already shot the show. So I'm going, that's time consuming, and that's kind of a headache. So what happens is, be patient. If it doesn't smell right, or you don't like it, or there's something that's just not right to you, don't do it. Okay, unless they give you the money you want and it doesn't matter, then go ahead and do it. It's up to you completely. Now, for the rest of the week, this week we did the Louisville Western Days. And another phenomenon that's happening is I sent out a whole bunch of emails to management and found that only a few people replied. Um, Trust me, if you don't reply or give me verbal okay, I'm not going to photograph you. Doesn't do me any good, so I'm not going to do it. So lately, a lot of people have been going out, and you send out information, you send out your information, your request, and that kind of stuff. People just don't get back to you. Doesn't mean they're ignoring you or anything like that, but big hunk of artists don't even read their own Facebook or whatever, their own social media, Instagram. They have email that's actually on a lot of their websites. So what happens with that is when you send it off to them, who knows if the manager or whoever actually even saw it, or took the time to read it, or had any interest in what you provide. So don't be offended, but also, when you're in place, then you can figure out how you're going to shoot the show. Like, we were there yesterday, and there was an opener, and we didn't know them. And I walked up to them and I said, hey, I told them what publication I was with. And they said, oh, we know, we read your publication. Okay, great. And I said, I'd like to take some photographs of you in your show. And they said, cool, that's great. And we sat and talked for about 5-10 minutes, and they were all cool with it. Couldn't get a hold of them through email. And then the next group that we had that came on after them is one that we've been talking with for a couple weeks, and we shot that. But the first group on Friday night, we shot them, and the other two people I wrote to 2-3 times, never got anything back from them at all. Okay, that's fine. You don't answer me back, I'm going home. Unless I can get a hold of you at the show and get your okay. So when we showed up, I checked him in my contact with the city, and he gave me my media pass, and he asked me about what I was going to do if I was going to shoot the other bands. I said, look, I got 2 bands that I'm shooting. That's it. And then I'm not going to shoot anybody else unless something happens. And he said that's fine. So I talked to that one band. So I shot 3 bands over the weekend, and we went home after the second one yesterday. Out of the people that I saw there, I know a friend that was there that I shoot and other festivals with, and he videotapes, videos the concerts with his cell phone, and then he puts them up on YouTube. And then there was another guy I didn't know with a Canon camera, and he was shooting that, and I hadn't seen him before and had no idea who he was. But out of probably 11 pretty good bands and 2 national headliners, I only saw 2, me and another photographer and a guy with a cell phone. So it was really a kind of a strange thing. Normally, every year there's the gruesome twosome out there. These two people that go out there and they shoot for the city, and they don't talk to anybody. They've always got a frown on their face, and they're real noticeable. But you know them if you saw them. If you even if you had never been to Louisville, Texas in your life. So that was yesterday. Part of the business I wanted to talk to you about is I've been doing a lot of research on the music business and to see what is actually driving it, because I've been talking to some artists and they tell me that it's kind of in a weird position or time right now, and the music industry is kind of having a little bit of upheaval and has for the last year or two. One of the big things I heard is to describe Spotify. 80% of all the music that's on Spotify, 80% or more, never has had even one play. People have uploaded the music to them and done all that, and they had one play or none. So there's music out there that nobody's heard, nobody's seen, anything like that. And right now the problem is going out and people are looking for gigs, places to play. They're looking for, there's a change in the way the music business has actually worked. And in Dallas, Fort Worth, I counted 45 tribute bands because of the way people actually want to, they want to work a 9-to-5 job, have the guaranteed money, then play on the weekend because they still love playing on the weekend. Where in Dallas, you do not have the big concerts that filled up big arenas and things like that like you used to have during the 70s, 80s, and maybe the early 90s. So you every once in a while you'll get a group come in that does that, but in the past it was every week or every couple weeks. Now it's not. So take and learn a little bit about the music business, and it'll help you, because believe it or not, if you're a photographer, music and concert photographer, whether you're an amateur or whatever, a professional, you write and photograph for a publication, or you work for a band, you are part of the music business, even if it's a small little place. And it's good to know what is going on in the industry that you're involved in. So, if you have any comments, concerns, confusions, I have no ideas, questions, whatever's, man, put them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And we've been getting a lot of stuff in our community tab, and it's been some really good questions. If you found anything useful in this video, man, like and subscribe. We appreciate it. And guess what? It's that time. We'll see you next week for sure. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.